you'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hill and special guests.
The last time I sat in this chair broadcasting to all of Team Hales was a special show, emergency show, last Wednesday night as producer Adam Dunn and I broke in to cover the breaking news of tornado warnings going out, alarms going off, all kind of mess happening. What I probably said last week was that last Wednesday during the day, I made 2 trips to Blytheville, Arkansas. A trip early in the morning for override, and then later in the afternoon for a override to Blytheville, 55 miles from Jonesboro, up Highway 18. Did it twice. Now, going and coming back, to get to Jonesboro, you have to go through. To leave Jonesboro to get to Blytheville, you have to go through Lake City. That's about 14, 15 minutes from where I live. About 10 minutes after that, you go through Monett, Arkansas. Later in the day, I did it vice versa. I went through Monett, went through Lake City, then I came here to Stadium Boulevard in good old Jonesboro, Arkansas, the home of the Red Wolves. Wolves up! Go Arkansas State University. We now have a new basketball coach. Our old basketball coach, which came from the University of Alabama, he went away because he did so good here. He got a big job in South Florida. Now we got another assistant, and he is here. Anyway, to the weather. Man, Jonesboro did all right, even though Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, it was crazy. Or Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, it was crazy with alarms. But Lake City last Wednesday got hit worse. No doubt about it. And as today we're sitting here at 51 degrees, this is Highway 18 in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is Lake City, Arkansas. As we look at that just horrifying picture of the damage there in Lake City, Arkansas, and we have more. This, Pat Trammell, is what it looked like for the people in Lake City. With that, and your audio should be on, with that picture, if you were out in that field, Pat, would you SHIT in your pants?
Well, I'd probably do more than that. I'll tell you, it's a frightening thing, and I was thinking of all my friends and our friends that join us um, every week, and I'm just thankful that there was no more damage than there was, and it's so good to be back with everybody.
Let's look ahead at this picture. You see that car?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that is a mess. This is a week of Wednesday, or Wednesday it'll be the week before, and this is in Lake City, Arkansas, and there is the picture of that mess again. First take time as we welcome to talk in Memphis Wrestling. I don't think you were here last week, Pat. You are here
I
this
was
week.
I am here this week, and I'm thankful to be here. I've been in and out the last couple of weeks, and I certainly miss it and miss everybody. And everybody was in my thoughts and prayers, and you especially, Randy, and our friends in the Mid South area during all that terrible weather. But so good to see everybody, and thank you for telling me hello. And I'm really excited about our show
BC
tonight.
Collins is in the house. PJ is in the house. Calvin Leonard Jr. Thomas Lemon is in the house. My buddy, and let's plug his podcast because I'm addicted to it. It premieres tonight at midnight on his YouTube page. It's William Robinson, Rusty, Dr. Robinson, the Blues Doctor podcast, and it will be live, not live, but it will be uploaded at midnight tonight. He has interesting subjects,
Uh,
and I'm learning a lot of stuff. Dr. and Mrs. Robinson are going to be in Memphis this next weekend. I'm been invited to a dinner and meeting both of them for the first time. So I am excited about that without a doubt in the world. Also here watching the show today is my brother from another mother. He is the husband of Eddie Moreland's youngest daughter, Diane. He is the best producer Memphis Wrestling ever saw. And Randy Dandy, Randy West, my pal, is in the house watching this show tonight as we're going to talk about 1990. Greg Wayne is in the house. Now, a lot of, what are you showing, Pat?
I'm setting my clock for 11:45 p.m. tonight, so I can watch the
Well, let
podcast
me warn you on
on
that.
YouTube.
YouTube is crazy, and it's why I do the live show because it's crazy on uploading. One time it took him 5 days. He has it scheduled for midnight tonight. It did load up by midnight last week. The week before it was days. So I wouldn't stay awake. I wouldn't stay awake.
I'm going to stay awake. Now, give it one more time. What am I looking for?
It is the
The
Good
Blues Doctor,
Doctor Podcast, William Robinson. Doctor,
the Blues Doctor
the,
podcast.
the Blues Doctor Podcast on YouTube. Just go.
All right, hold that up. As I get older, my memory doesn't work like it used
Take a
to.
picture of it, Pat.
I got a picture. We're ready to go.
All right.
We're ready to go. I'm going to post it on Twitter when we get off of here, and looking forward to it. Good to see everybody, man. I'm so fired up for today. I'm even happy to see you
Full
all.
disclosure, we're at a point where I was mad at Jerry Jarrett and I was gone for several years. So we're doing a review as an expert review, not as a review of normally somebody that either did it or was a part of it, because I absolutely wasn't a part of it. But during that time period, there was some good stuff. There was some shitty stuff, but there was some real good stuff too, without a doubt. And we're going to show some of that real good stuff today. Pat, how about your first take today?
Well, I think my first take today, number one, and we'll talk a little more about it. And I'm excited about tonight's what we're going to talk about tonight because it is one of those things that you were gone and Jerry was gone, but somebody that I underappreciated for way too long in my wrestling journey shows up tonight, and somebody we lost way too soon, and I'm excited to see how he interacts with the King and with Jeff and with other people. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, during this time period, by the way, about Jerry Jarrett was booking. He was involved. Absolutely. He was
Okay.
there in 89. Lance Russell had left. I had left. It was a mess. They did a few things, including the Texas Tennessee feud that was good. They had Ronnie Gossett come in to announce. Then Michael, as we showed the last 2 weeks, Michael, and I think 2 weeks ago, we showed it 2 weeks ago, but you were here when we showed Michael's
Uh,
solo live deal, right?
that's right. That's right.
Also, as BC
That's
says,
right.
that USWA was in transition with Dallas and Memphis. It was in transition because Lance Russell left. That was the key, no doubt about it.
We had a.
Pat Rose is in the
I
house.
think we had enough. That's right. Was Pat Rose there at this time?
He was not that quite that early. Not quite that
Is
early.
that right, Pat? Let us know. All right.
He was probably
Pat
wrestling for
swore he's
Nick
going to
Dumas.
take me
He was
fishing.
wrestling on Nick's end probably by that time, without a doubt.
Pat Pat says he's going to take me fishing if I come to Chattanooga, and you all heard it here.
And he is an expert. What's the name of his show?
That's
Set the
right.
Hook or whatever it's called. It's a fantastic,
That's right.
fantastic show.
Uh,
You you have a first take because
He's
we're
in
kind
one
of
of my
stretching
favorite
this
towns
thing
in the
because
world.
Michael came on early and then said he was going to go eat, and he has not returned. And I really don't want to get into the video without that. So, do you have a first take, or there's other directions that I can go if not?
Well, I think I've given a couple of them. Just glad everybody's okay and about the storm, and happy to be back. But I don't have anything very specific on politics or religion.
All right. How is Alabama doing? And I can't think of our coach's name, but Patrone or Tutrone or we have a new basketball coach at Arkansas State University, and he was Nate Oates' assistant. Did you know that?
I did not. I did not know that. I'm not. I hadn't kept up with it, but I'll tell you, Nate Oates, and Alabama has had a let's call it an upper middle class basketball program for a long time. But Nate Oates has brought energy and excitement, and I'm hopeful and believe we were in the Final Four last year, the Final Eight this year. I'm hopeful we're in for a lot of good years with Coach Oates.
He's doing fantastic, and there is nothing, no doubt about that. The new ASU basketball coach. And welcome to the pack, my friend. His name from a big assistant. He's coached in the NBA as assistant coaches. His name is Ryan, Ryan Pannone.
Yeah,
Pannone. He's a good recruiter and just a hell of a basketball coach. Welcome to Northeast Arkansas. Welcome to Jonesboro, Coach. Welcome to set up, piggybacking off of Brian Hoskins, who came from Alabama at all as well. Did a great 2 years, and now you have a chance to take us to heights we've never been. I'm really excited about, without a doubt, I'm really excited about Coach.
well, he was Coach Oates' number one recruiter, which that is so important.
How about my kick-ass producer here?
How about that? How about that? And see, he has the Trammel hairstyle too, so that's helpful for anybody. The ladies will love that.
All right. Talking Memphis Wrestling, and this in the television business has been called a stretch, an absolute stretch. I stretched. Pat came on. Then we talked about tornadoes. We showed pictures. Then we stretched some more, and we talked about everything. We put the picture up there again. Michael, your state is supplying Arkansas State University two head basketball coaches in a row with people from Nate Oates' program. This time, after Brian Hodgkins went and left to go to South Florida. Now, it was announced last Friday, press conference. I think it was announced before then. The press conference as he rode into Jonesboro, Arkansas. He rode into the convention center. He rode in to town. TWA, tell all the ladies Handsome Jimmy wasn't on the way. It was Coach Ryan Pannone. Big show. We're jumping into it, but first we got to say hello, Michael St. John, and do your opening little monologue.
And hey, Pat, first of all, and Josh was playing t-ball, And he plays for a team called the Yankees. Last year he played for the Padres, and he was really hacked off because he got traded to the Yankees. So he's playing shortstop today. He wears Mickey Mantle's number on the Yankees. He wears number 7, but he hits like Mickey Mouse. So we got to work.
Oh, that's not nice.
Oh, whoa.
I'm a little rough on the kid. He's 5.5, and I'm a little rough on him because, as you know, Pat, and you know, baseball is my sport. I'm sorry. T-ball is a hilarious game to watch. But when you've got the vested interest and it's your kid or your grandkid and he does something stupid, you hate that he gets laughed at. But he's doing better. I've just got to get him to the batting cage. The weather's been so crazy. I promised him I'd take him Saturday, and of course we had the tornado stuff starting to crank up here, so I didn't get to take him. But if I can get him to the batting cage, and the other thing is I don't understand about these T-ball coaches, and he's got a good coach this year. Don't get me wrong, but what they've got is a lot of little kids, and the standard T comes up to about right here, above the letters on their uniform. But they swing and they hit the bottom of the tee or in the middle of the tee, which is about their waistline. So if they brought the tee down to where the ball's sitting at their waistline, they'd get a lot more hits and the kids would have a lot more fun. So I want to make that suggestion. I haven't gone up to the coach and said, hey, have you tried? Because I don't want to be one of those parents, if you know what I mean. And I coached Pee Wee football for 20 years and I dealt with those parents. So I didn't want to do that. But it's a lot of fun. It puts me in a great mood. But I'm coming home and I'm like, okay, he had one great hit, line drive down third base line, foul. And then the couple of dribblers because he hit the tee and the ball fell off the tee kind of thing. So I came up with the fact that he's wearing Mickey Mantle's number, but he's hitting the ball like Mickey Mouse. So
that's the most brutal thing I've ever heard in my life from a grandfather. And
Tell you, man.
Really completely 100% off, opposite from what you usually do is you just beam with pride.
Well, I'm proud. Don't get me wrong, but I got to work on that. I got to work on that.
You're no Casey Kasem yourself, Michael. Okay.
I'm the worst DJ that ever hit the microphone. I can assure you. People tell me how great I was on the Love Hour because that's because I was trying to pick up chicks. I mean, but anyway. Great seeing you guys.
I have a line there, but I'm not going to go there with that. And
I picked up the best chick in the world. She just made ham and beans, and I can't complain. That's the reason I'm late. I had an extra helping of ham and beans.
Real quick, I want to run just real quick, Adam, through the Lake City, about 13 to 15 minutes from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Wednesday night, as Adam and I were live using Channel 5 video, Channel 8 video, and Brandon Baxter's audio from K-Shrine. Michael, I just wanted you to see this devastation as we go to the next picture, and that looks scary. I asked Pat if he shit in his pants, and he said something. I forgot what he said. And the next pictures are.
Oh.
How about that? That's just absolutely devastating, and that pretty much does those. Well, one last thing, man. It's scary, scary weather and awful. And one quick question, and we'll get to wrestling, people. We've kind of been taking longer getting to wrestling. Most of the time it's due to me being the only one on here, and I'm trying to wait for somebody. But have you ever been on the air, absolute live in a studio, when the tornado has absolutely touched down the second you're in there broadcasting?
Absolutely. 1989 in Huntsville, the 1989 Airport Road tornado, as it's called, came across Redstone Arsenal at 1 minute before 5 o'clock. My good friend Kevin Davis was on the air. I was in the news chair, and we were doing live reports with Gary Dobbs from Channel 31 Television, from Way TV, all at one time. And at the tornado, we had Mr. Traffic, and Mr. Traffic is a legend in this town. And we put him in a green Pinto and put him out on the road to do traffic back then. And he was in his lime green Pinto, and he was giving us play-by-play as that tornado crossed Memorial Parkway and down Airport Road, took out Crestwood Hospital, took out Holy Spirit Church, took out Jones Valley Elementary School, went up the backside of Montesano Mountain, and it was a devastating tornado. It started our broadcast in '89. We stayed with Way TV from that point all the way. That was on a Friday afternoon at 1 minute before 5 o'clock. We stayed with Way TV until 6 o'clock at night on Monday and just rebroadcast their TV coverage. And I was actually in it. And Randy, it's a pretty scary situation. Now, the one that came through here in 2011 was a mile and a half north of us at Fun 92.7 and knocked us off the air. The transmitter stayed on because we had the generator out there, but we didn't have a generator at the studio, and the entire city lost power. But that was a mesocyclone tornado, which I think is what hit Lake City. You know, I text you, I guess it was Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, Randy, to make sure you were okay.
Yes, sir.
Because I heard that it was in the quote unquote Jonesboro, Arkansas vicinity, and my heart jumped in my throat, and I said, "Oh, I hope Randy's safe." So that's when I gave you that text. But man, these things, and Pat, I think you can back me up on this. The tornado season here in Alabama normally doesn't start until about the 1st of April. This year it started March 15th, so it's early, which probably means we're going to be hot by the 1st of May.
Yeah.
B.C. Collins saying in Winchester, Virginia, some years ago, the tornado also came through an airport road. There is a local airport next to the studios, the radio studios that he's working with, and just interesting stuff. Hey, folks, I'm going to veer from the format again like I always do because I just like doing that. We always talk about the big split, and we'll spend 5 minutes on this. The big split, 1977. Jerry Jarrett resigned. He left Gulas Welch Promotions. He got TV on Channel 5. He got the Cook Convention Center. Nick Gulas did not get TV. Nick Gulas did not have TV. Nick Gulas did have the Mid-South Coliseum. Now, the first show that Jarrett run, the TV ran on March the 19th of 1977. Jerry Jarrett, after his first TV at Channel 5, ran the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee on March the 20th, and it drew 8,500 people. And look at this card. Dr. Frank, the Mummy, and Private Diamond against Jerry Bryant and Rick and Robert Gibson. And then Mr. Wrestling number 2, which it wasn't Mr. Wrestling number 2, it was Dick Steinborn in the mask against Pork Chop Cash. Then Southern Tag Team Championship match, Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey against Gorgeous George Jr. and Tommy Gilbert. Then came a Southeastern Tag Title match, Carl and Kurt Von Steiger from Southeastern Championship Wrestling and Knoxville against Tommy Wildfire Ricks before he was Wildfire and Bill Superstar Dundee. Then a special challenge tag team match from Southeastern and Knoxville, Ron and Robert Fuller against David Schultz and Dirty Dutch Mantel. Then came a Southern Heavyweight Championship. The champion, the Soul Man Rocky Johnson. Of course, he produced a pretty famous son. They call him The Rock. Against Big Plowboy Frazier. And the main event of the night at 8 o'clock on Sunday night at Cook Convention Center. And Pat will tell you real quick, Pat, tell us the name of the convention center here in 2025.
The Renaissance Convention Center.
And you might as well can say the Pat Trammell Convention Center. The match, no referee, Jerry Lawler and Bob Armstrong. Pat, we'll start with that. Jerry Jarrett's first Memphis live event, even though it wasn't at the Mid-South Coliseum, it was at the Pat Trammell Convention Center.
Well, he certainly pulled in a lot of people from all over and put a good card together. I'm not real clear on how did Nick not run Memphis after that, or for how long did he run it?
I think he ran it.
We'll get to that. But he ran the next night.
Yes. He had the
Okay.
Sheik in town.
Yeah.
Okay.
So real quick before we jump to that, Michael, your quick comments on that first card, March the 20th at Cook Convention Center.
I had done a couple of the shows for TV for promoting that. I knew that card very, very well, top to bottom. And Jerry just blew it out. He loaded it up with powerhouse talent from, like you said, Pat, all over. There's talent from the New Orleans area. There's talent from St. Louis. There's talent from Atlanta. There's talent from Dallas and Bill Watts, plus his own talent. That was a loaded card.
Loaded card. And then that drew 8,500 people. The next night at the Mid-South Coliseum, the week before, the last Jarrett Goulas card, even though Jarrett had sent his letter of resignation and about 4 or 5 weeks before, so he was gone, but he was still booking the card, but they were saying that Eddie was booking. Eddie never officially was a booker, or they were saying Lawler was booking, somebody was booking. Jerry Jarrett wasn't at the Towns, and Jerry Jarrett for a few weeks wasn't at the TV, but he was setting this up for sure for them to draw 8,500 people. And the only people that did not leave Nick was 2 big names, but I believe we did all right. The 2 big names were Jackie Fargo and Tojo Yamamoto. This card, and you can see the difference, this is a 5-match card, at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. Tony Marino versus Leon Chandler. Miss Corey Combs against the Satin Lady, which was probably Debbie Combs. The next match was a tag match, George Goulas and Tojo Yamamoto against the Crimson Terrors. The semifinal was Danny Little Bear and Chief Thundercloud versus the Bounty Hunters. And the main event, a big main event, but is it a big main event in Memphis, Tennessee? The Sheik against Bobo Brazil. This was March the 21st. The Goulas show, and it did officially 1,961 people, which is pretty darn good without television. Pretty darn good without television, without a doubt in the world. Pat, we'll start with you. Before we start with you, I just want to say the next week they drew 1,599 people. The week after that did 1,110 people. April of the 11th and 18th, there was no show at all. Then on May the 9th, Nick Goulas' last show at the Mid-South Coliseum did 484 people. 484 people. So now, Pat Trammell, we'll let you comment on Nick's show. Who would you think had the strongest lineup, my friend?
The strongest main event in my mind was Nick. I would have loved to have seen that.
Jeez.
But now the rest of the card, not so much. Actually,
We
not
were
so
not
much
looking
at all.
for Pat Trammell. We were looking for the city of Memphis, Tennessee.
Well, that's right. And you're not.
Showed up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, that card, particularly without TV, wasn't gonna get over. And certainly, I don't know of any city that had a feud that went very long. Do you? Like 2 people booking the town?
There were a couple of them.
long.
Minneapolis, not Minneapolis. Indianapolis was that way when the Bruiser the Bruiser was with Wilbur Snyder, and then the Sheik was booking it at the time, and that went for a couple of years. There was some opposition in. Oh, help me here, Randy. In
Atlanta,
Dallas.
the Battle of Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Ray Dunkel passed away, and his wife Ann was running the promotion, and Tom Ernesto was booking, and Jody Hamilton was a part of that, the Assassins, and then the Atlanta office and Paul Jones went, and that's maybe one of the most famous. Dick the Bruiser got in a promotional war in Detroit with the Sheik, as a matter of fact, and the Sheik won that war. There's been several.
That was the Detroit thing was in the Sheik opened up Indianapolis up against Bruiser and Wilbur Snyder, who were working for the guy in Chicago, and I forget his name. And in retaliation, like you said, Randy, the Bruiser went to Detroit because the Sheik used to book the Bruiser all the time, and he went to Detroit. And they were on a big TV station. They were on Channel 2, I believe, in Detroit at a good time. The Sheik was. So we had great TV up there. Atlanta's right, but I want to say, wasn't there a battle also either in Dallas or Houston? May have been Houston with Paul Bosch and
I think his name was Siegel.
Okay.
I think. I'm not positive.
All right. But there was a battle in Houston too. So there were some, but like you say, Pat, none of them lasted. I think the Atlanta thing probably lasted as long as any of them. And that's because both of them had time on the Superstation, because one was at 5:05 or 6:05 Atlanta time, and the next one came back to back with it at 7 o'clock with in fact, Thunderbolt Patterson was on that show for Ann Gunkel, and he was one of the top stars on that one. And my least favorite wrestling announcer of all time, Freaky Freddie, was doing the
Eddie Miller.
Yeah, Freddie Miller was doing that. But
don't miss it, be there.
Don't miss it, be there.
You know what? Thunderbolt would have gotten over well in Memphis.
You know, I had always heard, and I've only met him one time, and that was very brief. I have always heard that he was hard to deal with.
He was terribly hard to deal with.
And that probably cost him a lot of money in his career.
Yeah. Ole liked him. And Ole backed him.
He drew money.
And he drew money. But Ole liked him, but he was forever, anytime somebody tell him to move on, he'd sue him for, discrimination and all that kind of stuff and all that. But Ole loved it.
You know, one of the things too about Thunderbolt, I always loved to watch. I always thought that Thunderbolt Patterson and Dusty Rhodes were the same interview, but a man that is of color and a man that is not of color doing the same interviews. Did they not really? They're sort of. I hate to say this, and I love Southern Baptist preachers, but they were sort of that Southern Baptist preacher promo, and they were just the same promo.
Dusty stole it from Thunderbolt.
Absolutely, but made it Dusty. He made it Dusty, and certainly one of the greatest promos of all time. More people, and they were equal in ability, but the person that's listed in the list of greatest promos, Dusty, if not the top, he's near the top, and very few people mention Thunderbolt Patterson, which is a shame because he was just real good. Hey, I told you about 1990. 1990, we came back for 89. Several bad things happened. Lance Russell left. I left. A little bit of chaos. The good thing that happened is that Michael St. John had showed up and was helping from time to time, was becoming regular all the time. 1990 has hit, and we'll come to Pat and let Pat talk first. And we've showed this several times on the show, but talking about this era, we can't talk about the era till we talk about when the CWA changed the Championship Wrestling, or sometimes they said the Continental Wrestling Association changed to the USWA. The announcement of the CWA merger happened from Michael St. John in January the 6th, 1990. Here's Michael St. John and Eddie Marlin on Talking Memphis Wrestling. As you see, the CWA opened properly on the last time. Hey, everybody, with God and Tom, everybody, Jeremy, appreciate it. Everybody watching today. Somebody go see us now talking about the Jarrett debut card. The ringside tickets for $4. Great shot. I'm South Coliseum in Memphis.
Hello, wrestling fans,
Ladies
and
and
welcome to
gentlemen,
CWA Championship Wrestling.
Michael
I'm Michael
St.
St. John, and I got to tell you, I am excited today because I have the privilege and the pleasure of announcing one of the most historic announcements ever in professional wrestling. And you fans of the CWA are quite aware of the great talent and the great support that the CWA has had over the past several decades here throughout the area. Well, now a very special announcement, as two great wrestling organizations have come together for the decade of the 90s. I'm talking about a merger between the CWA and all the fine stars that you've seen in the CWA for all these many years. They have merged with the USWA, a worldwide wrestling company. And boy, there cannot be anything more exciting and a better way to start the decade than a great merger of two great wrestling companies. I want to call in promoter Eddie Marlin to give you some information and some background. Hello, Eddie. Good to see you. And boy, I see a happy smile on your face.
Sir, I'm telling you what's right. I know the fans know out there that my job is to bring the best talent available anywhere in the world. And we've been negotiating for 3 or 4 months. Sometimes it got tough. I thought it was going down the drain, but we were successful, and we merged. And let me tell you, we're merging with a company that's in the world-famous Sportatorium in Dallas. Their home office is in Dallas. They have wrestling in 120 cities over the country. Goodness. They're going to join with the CWA. Our favorite wrestlers from the CWA will be right here with them. But we can bring in top-notch wrestlers from all over the world, and that is our job. The CWA and the USWA is going to be together, and we're going to make 1990 the biggest thing that's ever happened to wrestling anywhere in the country.
Well, it's just an opportunity at the decade of the 90s to see not only the great stars that you've seen in the CWA all along, but the additional of all these great new stars from the
USWA bring in the World Tag Team Champions. All the great stars is going to be seen right here on live television, just like the television's live in Memphis. It's going to be a great 1990.
Boy, what an announcement. The USWA and the CWA. Eddie Marlin,
about it, brother.
Boy, you've done yourself one better, I'll tell you. The USWA, the CWA merged together. We'll tell you about all these great action, all these great matches coming up on the program today, and a lot more. We'll be joining Mark Lawrence in Dallas live. Much, much more right here on Championship Wrestling right after these messages.
This business a long time. He's really a ring strategist.
all right, Pat.
Michael bringing the hot news to you, I tell you. Now, Michael, were you in Dallas? Were y'all in Dallas there?
No, we were in Randy West's studio at his house.
Okay.
I always loved it because you watch the monitors in the back. He had one that was watching what we were filming, and he had another one with wrestling action. He always put it there. It always looked good. I always liked that setup that Randy did. You know, the thing about it, Pat and Randy, I always when I watched the shows prior to that and then the shows after that, I always felt that there was a little period of time where the Dallas boys had to get used to what Memphis did and what the Memphis boys had to get used to what Dallas did.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Oh, 100%.
Because the styles were similar, but not similar. I mean, you know, and Dallas was really built over and above. You know, Memphis had one superstar with Jerry Lawler. We all recognize that, but many good regional talent stars to support that superstar and on the card. But Dallas, everybody was all around the Von Erichs, but it wasn't one Von Erich. It was the Von Erichs as a whole, if you would.
BC Collins saying something, and I think he's asking a question. He said, Michael, you started at the Sportatorium in early 1991. Is that correct?
That is
the
correct.
Right year?
That is correct. That is correct. And then rode the bus quite a bit to Memphis after the shows at the Sportatorium, and that could be a movie. That could be, you know, I need to get a hold of the guys from Dark Side of the Ring because there's some stories that could be told about those bus trips. Pretty funny.
Right.
Pretty funny.
Is that 5 hours?
Yeah, we would leave the Sportatorium at about 11:30 with a stop in Texarkana at about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we get to Memphis TV about 7:30.
Okay.
Tell everybody who used to have that bus before y'all took it over, before y'all stole it.
Waylon Jennings.
Waylon Jennings,
Yeah.
the outlaw.
Jerry cut a deal with the outlaw Waylon Jennings. If the bus could talk, it'd probably have even better stories for
Oh my God.
Dark Side of the music business.
So Lance Russell left. The territory was down. They were going to a different direction, and they knew the future. Jeff Jarrett debuted before the bottom fell out, obviously, not blaming him at all. National Expansive is what happened, and then Vince McMahon raiding all the territories. Thank God at that point, Jeff Jarrett, who was not the top guy that he would become, but Jerry Lawler obviously owned part of the town, so he didn't go anywhere. But it was interesting. But you had to get new talent over, and sometimes you would try different things, and until something worked. I won't. I'm not going to do a big intro here. A tag team called the Scots, whoever the hell they are, in a 2-minute 30-second video, a 2-minute 2:37, 2 minutes 37 seconds. Easy for me to say. It's the Scots against the New Kids, stealing from the young rock group that was hot as hell. And we watch the New Kids right now with Michael Pat, and I'm Randy L. So I'm talking Memphis Wrestling.
The New Kids, Brian and Tony. I hear the music. They should be coming this way very, very soon. Well, I guess they can find their way out of the dressing room. They're not known for their intelligence. There they come right there, Brian and Tony.
Very young, BC, Brian Christopher. Tony Williams before he became Kid Wicked. Good reaction from the people. Downtown Bruno is Dave's partner in this match. Michael, apparently you were not there. You must have been in Texas.
Probably was.
Those guys are going to have to be deloused. They're going to have to get their heads shaved. They're going to have to have something because they're going to be in a lot of bad shape after being around people like that. It's obvious, Dave. People like you, as a matter of fact. Bruno, if you don't mind, if you're
Your earliest memories of Brian Christopher in the ring.
Lots of energy, needed to bulk up, and already had, you can already tell he's going to be talented on the mic. I mean, he got that from his dad. That no doubt about that. But a lot of, Brian, I think, had a lot of natural talent, but I think a lot of times that it was overshadowed, even though, you know, at this point in time, I think most of the fans were kayfabe over the fact that he was the king's son. These are two pretty small guys.
That's a good move right there.
Yes, sir. Tony Williams was a hell of a worker, and they had good teamwork. Brian having trouble staying on the ropes. That would have been bad. It's a fast-paced deal. Their team did not last a whole long period of time, and they would get over there if they're exciting, good-looking, young babyface tag teams that did a lot of cool-looking moves.
They're not getting a lot of help with who they're working with, though. You got to say that for sure.
No, absolutely.
Get away with it. Don't get fined. Don't get caught, and win the match. That's the bottom line, Dave. These goofy, ugly.
Always loved Bruno on the mic. He was, God only knew what was coming out of that guy's mouth. That was great.
What they're gonna do with their life. Whoa! What a move! Count of two. It's over. The New Kids get the victory at downtown Bruno.
I've never seen the Scots, and I hope to God to never see them again. We'll go with Michael first about the New Kids, then Pat to hear Pat's probably the first time he's ever seen the New Kids, but we'll go with Michael first.
Pretty green match when you look at it, but at the same time, you saw some promise, especially with Brian and Williams. I mean, there was again, everybody, and I think everybody in this day and time knows that to make a match really good, you got to have both people or both teams really helping each other. And that's what made pro wrestling what it was when in its heyday, if you would, in the greatness of the territories. Everybody helped everybody else come along. And I witnessed it in the locker room. Randy, I know you witnessed it. Pat, I know on the matches that you promoted, you probably witnessed it too. Everybody was in it to help each other because they knew as a whole they could make more money for all of them. And in this day and time, it's all like baseball stars, football stars, everybody else. Everybody has a fat contract, and they're only in it for themselves. And that, I think, shows in the storylines. I think it shows in the finish, and it most certainly shows in this day and time in the ring.
Pat, your comments on the new kids.
Well, I tell you, and I want to say hello to Ahmad this evening. He's been helping his girls with homework, which he's a better parent than I ever was. But yeah, they smelled a little bit like a baby Midnight Express to me. I mean, Rock and Roll Express to me.
That was kind of the point, I am sure.
Yeah.
The Rock and
Well,
Roll by that time were hot as hell.
yeah. Well, but I mean, I got a little sense of that, and I don't know if did the Scots wrestle anymore. I mean,
Probably not after that performance.
well, I mean, y'all hired them, so or
No, don't
somebody
say
hired 'em.
y'all.
Not y'all. Somebody hired them.
My ass
So
one there, your freaking baby, your freaking buddy that you kiss his ass all the time, Jerry Jarrett. That's who freaking hired. Actually, Eddie Marlin booked the enhancement talent, so it's probably Eddie, my mentor, to tell you the truth. But I had nothing to do with it. I can promise you.
I wonder if they were they local guys.
I doubt it.
Okay.
But who knows? I just never heard of them. Anybody that can give me information that they came back, let me know. Michael, you were there at TV. Did you know those idiots?
I don't even remember them. I mean, that may have been a one and done shot for them. I do know that back in those days, around this period of time, a lot of the enhancement talent was coming out of Missouri. There was a small independent show in St. Louis on the South Side that were running shows. In fact, that's where we got Jeff Gaylord from, and some of those boys. And Chris, gosh, what the guy that God, I can't think.
Champion?
Pardon?
Chris Champion?
Chris Champion, yeah, he came via that pipeline too. So perhaps I'm thinking that they may have been, coming down I-55 for those enhancement talent folks.
Talking Memphis Wrestling, we're here on Tuesday. Michael will not be here next Tuesday. He has something exciting going on, and anything he does, he's always does something exciting. But I forgot where you said you were going.
Louisville, Kentucky. 20th time we'll be at the AT&T Morning Line. The live broadcast mornings Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday headed over to Lexington to take in a little horse racing and get my fix of Keeneland in the springtime. It's always a great place. It's my happy place, and it gets my fires going for the rest of the season.
I opened the show earlier with this announcement. I like to do local news, just like Adam and I broke in with weather reports last Wednesday with the Randy Hill show. That was fun, and I opened the show with the announcement, and it's just it's just awful that here on this show we got a Memphis guy producing the show. We got two Alabama guys, and with Chris Ellis sick and throwing up, he can't be here. So I'm the true Arkansas guy, and I'm outnumbered on my own damn show. I don't know what in the hell is going on, but this show is invading. Alabama is invading this show, and Alabama is invading Arkansas State University. I think you might have missed it for the second time in a row, and I'm tickled to death. I'm teasing about being invaded. But from the University of Alabama, that had a hell of a run this year with Nate Oakes, the coach, and now we have a Alabama athletic director, Jeff Purinton. We have a Alabama affiliated head football coach in Butch Jones. And last Friday, it was officially announced in a press conference on campus at Arkansas State University. Wolves up! We welcome to campus and to Jonesboro our new head basketball coach, Ryan Pannone. You familiar at all, Mr. St. John?
I know he was an assistant on the staff. Is it Pannone or Pannone?
It could be Pannone. I mean, you probably heard it more than I did.
I'm not a big Nate Oates fan. No offense to Nate Oates. I think he's done a great job at Alabama, but he's taken the route of the former Kentucky coach that is now at the University of Arkansas, in that he's signing players not for a 4-year run, but for what he can get out of them now before they jump ship. So I'm a much bigger fan of Bruce Pearl, who I think is developing talent at Auburn. But I don't know. My passion for Alabama football is much greater, much greater than any passion I have for Alabama basketball. But that's just me. I'm not a big basketball guy. I'm sorry. In fact, who was it that won? Did Florida win on a last-second shot last night? Was that the deal?
Florida won. I'm not sure about the last second shot.
I was
Now
watching.
Houston could not get a last second shot off. They
I
had
was
the ball
watching
last.
Reds and Giants on the big screen, and I had the game on one of the other TVs, and I saw sort of the ending. And I said, "Oh, it looks like Florida won." I turned it off. Just proves to everybody that Florida's finally a basketball school.
Lot of stuff happened in 1990, and sometimes you go with something old to get it back clicking. And they experimented with once again switching Jerry Lawler Hill again. And this clip is called Lawler Hates Everyone. It features handsome Jimmy Valiant and a lot of Jerry Lawler verbiage that's always classic. It's 5 minutes, 9 seconds. Lawler hates everybody on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You tried to burn me weeks ago. It didn't work, did it? Now, you burnt my colonel. You burnt my goon. Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler. Listen, Daddy. The plan's all over. It's all over, man. Look at these eyes, Lawler. Years ago, baby, you burned me. I know what my goon is going through. I know. Jerry Lawler, listen. Open them ears. I'm gonna stop you just like I stopped your crowd right in the ground. Jerry Lawler, I don't care about the belt no more, baby. I don't care about nothing except you. Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler. Look in my eyes. The boogeyman is coming.
Okay, let's stop that and leave it there. Just push stop. Just get comments right now. A very, very intense, handsome Jimmy Valiant, Pat.
You know what? I mean, I was watching, but I was like, that's not Jimmy. I mean, that is. I've never seen a handsome Jimmy promo, even when he was mad like that before.
Did you like it?
I gotta let it digest a bit. It's a little psychotic. You don't see that a lot from Jimmy.
Michael?
Jimmy's promos were always sort of lighthearted and dancy-wancy kind of thing, and he could talk a house in a heartbeat, but he got very serious with that. I think Jimmy at this point in time in his career was starting to go through a little personal change as well. He had just gotten that snake tattoo across his forehead when this all happened. And I remember when he walked into the locker room in Memphis for the first time with that, I remember Jerry Jarrett going, "What the heck is that?" And it was, he explained it. It was like a snake tattoo right across his forehead. That was before Mike Tyson got the one on his cheek, and before Rhodes got the one on his neck. So Jimmy, I guess, was a groundbreaker that way too. I sort of liked Jimmy when he got intense. I mean, I sort of bought that promo.
Yeah, me too.
I bought that promo.
For sure, and I think this is a time period that he was going through a lot of stuff, including, wasn't this the time that he got a divorce from Miss Angel?
I believe you're right.
He married Miss Angel. What was her name? Big Mama. Big Mama.
Yeah. This was about the time that he and Big Mama went their own way. Yep, you're right about that.
Jerry Lawler looks disinterested to me, doesn't he, you, Pat?
Yeah, he does.
Let's
He
pick it
does.
up.
Yeah.
Were you paying attention?
Jerry's
to any-
facials were as good as his promos
Bit of it. I
sometimes.
guess it's by the look in your face. You think that I should be here shaking in my boots. You think that I should be trembling. You think that I should be scared of Jimmy Van. Well, let me tell you something. Hey, shut up over there, liver lips. I'm trying to do the interview over here. You get yourself your own show, and then you talk all you want to. Now, let me tell you something, Dave Brown, and let me tell all of those idiots out there that think I'm afraid of Jimmy Valiant something. I know Jimmy Valiant personally. I know him better than anybody in the wrestling profession because, you see, for a couple of years, I carried Jimmy Valiant on my back, and he's a heavy load, I can assure you. He tag teamed with me, and I had to do all the wrestling. I had to do all the winning. I had to carry him around, and believe me, he's a heavy load to carry. And Jimmy Valiant, you know it's true. You went all around the country. You tried to claim to everybody that you and I were close personal friends. And for a while, I believed it. While we were tag team partners, yeah, I thought you were my friend. But the same thing happened to Valiant that has happened to Jeff Jarrett, that has happened to Bill Dundee, that has happened to Dutch Mantell, that has happened to all of these people that have seen me win this World Heavyweight Championship. They got eat up with jealousy, Dave. Do you know what it's like to be eat up with jealousy? No. Let me tell you something. Let me put it in context for you. Because you are similar to me. You're the tops in your profession. You're the best at what you do that there is in this entire city. And all of the other guys that do what you do are jealous of you, whether you know it or not. Well, that's what I found out. When I won this world championship, Dave, I all of a sudden have to face the fact that Jeff Jarrett, Bill Dundee, Dutch Mantell, and handsome Jimmy Valiant, all of these guys who thought they were so popular with the fans, all of these guys who thought they were so great, were suddenly consumed with jealousy because I'm the champion and they're not. And that's what happened to Jimmy Valiant. He is so eaten up with the fact that we used to be tag team partners, and now I'm the champion of the world, and he's nothing but a low-life has-been that he can't stand it. So now he comes and he tries to take my belt away from me. Well, let me tell you something. I'm not going to stand for it, Jimmy Valiant, and no matter what I have to do, to no matter who I have to do it to, I'm going to teach you, Valiant, that we are not friends and that you are not world championship material. You're looking at the true world heavyweight champion, and there ain't nobody, and I mean nobody around here that can do anything about it. And Monday night, I'm going to finish what I started, and you can tell that to Jimmy Valiant, and he can take it for what he's worth. And when you tell him that, you look at his face, because he's the one that's going to be trembling, and he's the one that's going to be shaking in his boots. Do you understand that? Shut up.
We'll be back.
That was sort of a shoot interview in sort of a kindly way, because I know the fact that after Jerry won the belt, that there was a little, I won't say animosity, but a little rub. And I think that turning Jerry heel was necessary once he had the belt, because heel champions are the ones that draw money.
So, how did you like the interview, Michael?
I like that. I like the whole thing. I like Valiant's intensity, and I love Lawler turning heel in a very, if you would, in a very respectful way. He was, like I said, it was more of a shoot promo, whether or not it was, but it was more of a shoot promo for Jerry to go heel, and I think it worked. I don't know if it drew money, but I think the promos were good for what they were supposed to do.
Pat, have you ever seen that before? If so, or if not, whatever. Did you like it?
I'd never seen it before. I've always kind of considered Lawler just Lawler. Lawler heel was just Lawler amplified, pretty much, and insulting, which he did he always insulted when he was a babyface in a playful way, but this was just being serious with it. And I thought and I'm stealing something from our producer Chris here. I thought putting not Chris Adam, I'm sorry, putting putting Dave up, comparing himself to Dave as the best in his profession, which, regardless of what you think about Lawler, there's no question Dave Brown's the best of his profession. I thought was pretty good.
No doubt about it. We'll go right in, continue our deep dive into 1990. This is September the 1st, 1990, and one of the most talked about and one of the things that just shocked people, big time shocked people. This is a lengthy that shows more than the 10 seconds that lives forever. The 10 seconds that live forever. This is a 14-minute video, and this is entitled Eddie Gilbert Runs into Jerry Lawler, and it's a 14:03 video, and Adam will push that button now.
At the Evansville Coliseum.
You know, a lot of things are happening
This
right
is
here
Michael
right now.
Audio.
People
Listen.
are getting run over. It's being getting run over. Doug, this week you've got Cowabunga, and I want to see what a turtle looks like when you run over and you splatter him in the road. Sam Lowe, this is going to be your chance. Cowboy boot match. You come in the ring with a pair of cowboy boots on. So do you, Eddie Marlin. The ones that gets them off, the other guy wins, and you can use them. And Brickhouse Brown, people are about to see a history-making thing. They are about to see the name of Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert go down in history in the USWA because Jerry Lawler is fit to get a present for me right here on this program. And Brickhouse, if you've got any guts at all, show up because these are the eyes of a crazy man. I came back to be number one. My brother's going to be number one. Sam Lowe's going to beat Eddie Marlin's head in, and I am going to reign the new king of the USWA. And if anybody gets in my way, I'm going to run you over.
Well, a few
All
minutes.
right, let's stop it right now, Adam. If we could stop that right now. I believe Eddie Gilbert was booking at this time. That was a long-time photographer, Sam Lowe, that eventually Eddie Gilbert changed his name to Sam Bass Lowe as a gig. This was later on as a gig to Jerry Lawler because, of course, Sam Bass was just a first ever manager of Jerry Lawler. That interview, Pat, your thoughts?
Eddie Gilbert was his own deal and something else. I loved it. I loved it. He brought the heat from the time he was 14 years old.
Michael?
Typical Eddie. But I want to say one thing, and I've always thought this about Eddie, and with all due respect, I thought Eddie doing promos was much better when there was a microphone and an announcer with him to lead him into the promo. Because once he got going, that train was going straight to the station. I mean, it was a fastball down the middle. And I always thought that Eddie, when he took the microphone, it gave him he didn't have the momentum that he had when somebody would lead him into his promo, if you get what I'm saying. So from a personal standpoint, I'm not talking about me, but I'm talking about people like Dave and of course the great Lance Russell, who was phenomenal at leading people into the interview as to what they're supposed to say. I always thought that having that announcer there, having that guy there, the setup guy, if you would, helped Eddie Gilbert just explode into the great promo talent that he was. Personal opinion, but I really like it when somebody else is on set setting up Eddie on promos.
We'll continue the video now.
Yelling and screaming. We were showing you part of a videotape of what happened when the belts were held up. Let's go back and take a look at the rest of what happened down there.
The crowd behind Jarrett and Gaylord, 100%. Everyone's on their feet trying to explain to Frank Morrell what happened with the chain.
I don't know who that announcer is. David Webb out of the thing.
Frank Morrell going to reverse the decision.
Michael, did you know David Webb?
Brian Lee nailed him right
I don't
across the back
remember
of the
David
head.
Webb. I'm sorry.
Well, they looked like he was going to. He grabbed Jarrett's wrist, and about that time he got waylaid. And all four men going at it. Jarrett,
And
far
David
away on
Jett,
Todd
right
Harris,
over there from Terry
nails him
Golden,
hard.
the
Gaylord
kick-ass
is up
wrestler,
on Brian Lee.
and Memphis Championship.
I do remember
it looks
David.
like Frank Morrell is taking the belt. He's saying nobody's getting the belt. He's holding them up. I assume pending a review on this situation, nobody's going to get the belt.
Well, and of course, that's exactly what happened. The decision was that there had been outside interference by Downtown Bruno, and therefore the belts would be held up. And that was verified by the USWA committee, and the belts have, in fact, been held up. There will be a rematch coming up between those teams,
No, Thomas,
and we'll
that
tell you
would
more
not be
about that
accurate
later
to
on.
say that.
Another match which
There was a top
occurred a
story
few days ago was a 19-man
And
battle royal.
Lawler
Now,
and
in
Eddie
this
Gilbert
one,
was doing
every
everything he
man for
could,
himself
as
in
he
here. And we
admired
had wondered
Lawler
how he always
forever,
wondered
and
in
he
battle royal
loved
how
being in
pairings
the
may
spot.
end up, partners can end up
So
facing
he was
each
not
other.
at all
And
frustrated with
$5,000
Lawler in the
at
90s.
stake. A lot of times
He didn't want
strange
Lawler to
things
step
happen.
aside.
But we've got a bit
He
of
needed an
videotape
opponent,
of
and at
battle
that time,
royal.
Lawler
Let's
was
take
the
a
one
look
he was shooting
at what
for.
happened there.
Brickhouse Brown saying no way is he going to go in there and split any money. He's coming after the $5,000. Both men fighting tooth and nail as Brickhouse sticks to fifth. Brickhouse Brown with an atomic knee drop.
Great
Hot
bump.
stuff Eddie Gilbert up and over the top rope and out of the battle royal. As Brickhouse Brown
I miss
coming
this
out
guy.
victorious,
I love Brick.
winning
I really do. Great guy.
$5,000.
Great guy.
Look out, Brick. Here comes Doug Gilbert. Sam Lowe back into the ring. Eddie Gilbert nails referee Jerry Calhoun, and now it's 3-on-3. Oh, look out. Here comes a stuffed pile driver. Oh, man, they nailed Brickhouse hard. You know, for a minute, with the way Brickhouse has acted before in the past, I thought he'd split the money with Gilbert. But he said, no, I told you earlier tonight what kind of a man I am. I'm my own man. He said he's got a woman that takes a lot of money. He wanted a $5,000, and he won it fair and square.
Now leave Brickhouse alone. Stop getting the bag over. It's all Brickhouse to win.
Eddie Gilbert has split the check and is tight after Doug Gilbert and Sam Lowe jumping Brickhouse. Eddie just took the check, shoved it down his tight.
If you don't leave the road off the bag, you'll be fine. I'm telling you. Don't leave off the
Promoter Eddie Marlin telling Eddie Gilbert that if he doesn't get out of the ring off the Brickhouse, he'll be fined. Eddie Marlin going up into the ring. Doug Gilbert and Sam Lowe jumping Eddie Marlin now. Eddie Gilbert just nails Eddie Marlin with that chair.
Well, we need to get somebody in here to help them. Eddie Marlin at their mercy. I assume most of the wrestlers that are in this battle royal are back in the showers or on their way home after they've been eliminated. I don't know if they'd help Brickhouse, but I sure know somebody would help Eddie Marlin if anybody's back there in the dressing room. Eddie Marlin, a bloody mess, finally out of the ring. He's got on the mic.
Eddie Marlin in there, calling for Jerry Lawler as Sam Lowe and Doug Gilbert continue to pound on Eddie Marlin and Brickhouse Brown. Marlin in bad shape, bleeding now after being hit with that chair. Eddie Marlin needing help. Lawler climbs up into the ring, pulls the strap down, goes to cleaning house.
Lawler's in there nailing them all. He's got both the Gilberts. Brickhouse back up to his feet. Brickhouse on Gilbert. Lawler nails Sam Lowe. Lawler and Brickhouse cleaning house after one of the sickest things I have ever seen in professional wrestling. One of the most disgusting and cowardly acts I have ever seen perpetrated by anybody.
Thank goodness Lawler got there to help Brickhouse after an incredibly disgusting display.
Oh, let's look up in the air. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Super Lawler. Yeah, every time somebody down, when stick his nose into my business, well, I'm going to take your nose, buddy, and I'm going to cram it Jerry Lawler, you want to say Brickhouse Brown? Brickhouse Brown, the people didn't get to see what happened when I took the microphone. You were like a brother to me. I trusted you. I thought we would split the $5,000, and you turned on me in front of all those people. Now, I want to tell Mr. Old Man Eddie Marlin something. Stay out of my business. Stay out of my brother's business and stay out of Sam Lowe's. Because whenever you get on a microphone and tell me to quit, well, I'm going to do it just a little harder because I've always been a little rebellious. I didn't like people telling me what to do, Eddie Marlin. I don't like...
Eddie Marlin face to face right here.
Listen, let me tell you something, Eddie Gilbert. First I want to talk to you, Sam Lowe. You shouldn't even be out here in front of the cameras. You should be running around the ring with your little camera. And I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to show you the color of your own blood, because you're going to be in a ring with me and you're going to have on cowboy boots, and I am too. And I'm going to take your boots and bust that head. Now, let me tell you something, Eddie Gilbert and Doug Gilbert. I should have fired you last week, but I didn't. It's because Jerry Lawler and Brickhouse Brown said, don't fire him. We can do more damage to him in the ring than you can by firing him. That's the only reason you are here today talking about the match.
No, wait a minute. You know, I can stand a lot of things. I can stand people coming out calling me this, that, and the other. But for you, the promoter, the man that represents the USWA, to come out here and tell me the reason why you didn't fire me is because Jerry Lawler and Brickhouse Brown said, oh, we'll kick their butts, Eddie Marlin, let us have a match with them. The only reason why you didn't fire us, Eddie Marlin, is because we are the USWA now. I'm talking about the Gilbert. We are the Gilbert. You see, we represent the USWA. You wouldn't sell ticket one if it wasn't for me and my brothers. You would not have anybody come to these matches if it wasn't for us. You would have an empty arena there because we are the hottest commodity in wrestling now. The people don't care anything about Jerry Lawler. The people don't care anything about Brickhouse Brown. They don't care about Bill Dundee. They don't care about Jeff Jarrett. They care about the Gilberts. We are stars. Wherever we walk, people flock. And you're lucky that I'm even wrestling here.
No, that you're lucky that you're wrestling here, because if it hadn't been for Lawler and Brickhouse Brown, you would have been fired last week. You wouldn't even be here on this.
The truth is, Eddie Marlin, if right now, if I said I was quitting or something like that, you'd drop right down on your knees. You would say, please, please, Gilbert boys, please don't leave this place. You're going to go right now. The ratings have come up since I've been back. All the crowds have been coming in to see me. I know I'm a star. I know I'm the man here now. You can't do without me. I'm irreplaceable, sir. Because I want to tell you something. You're real lucky that I'm even working for this rinky-dink promotion.
Well, let me tell you something, young man. If it's so rinky-dink, you hit the road right now. I don't have to have you. I don't need you. Hit the road right now.
Stars,
you're not stars. Hit the road.
What are you saying? You're firing me here on TV?
Drop down the...
You're firing me?
Out the door.
You can't fire me here.
Out the door.
You can't do that. Out the door. You can't fire me.
Well, Gilbert finally pushed Eddie Marlin too far, I think. As Eddie said, he felt like he should have fired him after that disgusting display that you saw the videotape from that occurred at the 19-man Battle Royal. He didn't fire me. Eddie Marlin seems to be proving he can, in fact, fire him. And there they went.
I don't know if, good shot of him.
We've got a camera going that way. Let's see if Eddie does, in fact, make sure they get out of the building, or what the situation. Yeah, there they go. They're out in the parking lot. Gilbert's still screaming. Doug Gilbert there in wrestling tights. Doug's scheduled in a match here in just a few minutes. But, hey, getting into a little bit of a shoving match there, and Eddie Gilbert coming back. Eddie Marlin still insisting, hey, get out of here. That looks like Doug's car there. Oh, shoves Eddie down. Well, that's the kind of guy you're dealing with here, and hot stuff Eddie Gilbert. Yeah, there's Lawler out to kind of even it up a little bit. And I see Eddie Gilbert backing toward the car now. The door is open. And, yeah, he just gets in there and get him on out of the parking lot. Hey, look out. Whoa.
Whoa.
My goodness. Lawler hit by the car. Eddie's checking him out there. Stay right here.
I think Dave was underselling here a little bit. That would have been an oh my God moment for me.
Eddie's calling for some help from, there's Jerry Calhoun and Bill Dundee helping out. Rex King out. Now Jerry looks like
Steve Dunn and Rex King were a great team.
Looks like he's helping his own cause and getting up there. Well, boy, he's going to be mighty sore at the least, let me tell you that. Eddie Gilbert went flying out of the parking lot there after being fired by Eddie Marlin. To get Jerry back in the building here and make sure, get him checked out, make sure everything's all right. Well, I tell you what, you deal with guys like the Gilberts, and I got to agree, Eddie should have fired him last week after all of that happened, but Jerry Lawler and Brickhouse Brown says, no, don't fire him, let us get him in the ring. Well, in hindsight, maybe it would have been better if he had just been fired before that. Well, I'd really like to get Eddie out here and see if we can get the situation, but I don't know. Maybe we should take a break and check it out, and then we'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
I'll go first on this one. I remember sitting home, and I remember the angle, and I remember, man, it looked great. But I soured on it within 15 seconds. If there was ever a time to, at that point, call an ambulance, if it was ever a time for Lawler to be out for 3 months, that was it. Lawler came back later in that television show and did a fired up interview. Now, I was not there. I was told that because of the fact that the precinct was right across the street from the TV station there on Union Avenue. So many people called and said, Eddie Gilbert just ran over Jerry Lawler, blah, blah, blah. They said, and I did not witness this again. I was not there, because if I was there, I would have argued this deal. I would have said, great, sounds great, fantastic, but there would have been another way to keep Eddie Gilbert out of jail. I am sure. I think for Lawler, as you saw, Lawler, even though Eddie was helping him, was getting up. That should have been a serious angle. Due to that, Lawler was there that next Monday in a match with Brickhouse Brown and Lawler against Eddie Gilbert, maybe Doug Gilbert. There was just not going to be any money there. I think they went the wrong route there. Even though, I'm not saying it looked bad, it looked great. I wouldn't have risked being in that situation. I wouldn't have been Eddie Marlin. Did you see how close Eddie was to that car? That was a dangerous deal, and to not sell it and and come right back, I think it was a mistake. Michael.
Hi, Randy. You just said everything I was going to say. That is exactly the case. I think they hurried the angle. Somebody panicked. The police are going to arrest Eddie Gilbert. Well, maybe they were, maybe they weren't. That would have been even a better story, because that would have made the nightly news. How can you better sell an angle than the fact that it makes the nightly news? Wrestler runs over another wrestler, now in jail. That'll sell tickets. Maybe not this Monday night, but a few Monday nights from there. I couldn't agree more. That was as I called them back then, drop dead angles. That was a drop dead angle, and you got to run with it, and you got to live with it, and you got to let it mature, and you got to work it to being a sellout house for weeks and weeks to come. And I think somebody pushed the panic button. It shouldn't have been pushed.
Again, I was not there to hear the talking. I think that I heard a shoot interview where Eddie Gibbert said that he and Lawler was driving back from Louisville and he pitched the idea at Lawler. If it was a Jerry Jarrett's TV the final say, or even a Randy Hill's TV final say, or a Nick Goulas final say, I think I think none of the people that I mentioned would have greenlighted that particular angle. I'm not knocking Eddie Gibbert's talent. I think he's brilliant for sure. I think that angle was just the wrong thing to do right there.
In any of our bookings and in our backgrounds, that's an angle that you don't get up from. You lay on that cement, you lay on that asphalt until the ambulance gets there. And it becomes a big deal. And like I said, if it makes the nightly news, even the better. That's going to sell out the house even harder and quicker. Somebody shit the bed on that angle. Excuse my French, but it wasn't carried out properly.
And even though it's a memorable thing and our audience is loving it, watching, but then the purpose of this show, Talking Memphis Wrestling, give the perspective of somebody inside. And folks, I've thought things in my life was great stuff that would work, and it shit the bed. I've thought a great interview that I had in my head, I'd go out and deliver it, I shit the bed. It happens, and this is an example. This happened to two of the greats there. It really did. And I'm just very anxious to hear Pat Trammell's thoughts on this deal. Pat, you have however long you want.
Well, I mean, I number one, I thought Lawler. I mean, and that is as they say in some sports, in baseball, a bang bang play. I thought Lawler hit the car perfectly. I thought it looked great. I have truthfully never and don't have the experience as rookie as you do, Randy, and backstage as you do, Michael. I never really thought about that. I do wonder if there was some thought of, starting something they couldn't finish if the police got involved. I wonder if there was ever any talk of tipping the police off as to what was going on.
No, there wouldn't have been any thought of that.
There wouldn't have been any thought of that.
But Lawler was smooth talking. They could have worked away. And hell, if they arrested Eddie Gibbert right then, that would have been great. That would have been fantastic.
I don't know how you get him out of that, though. I really don't.
Oh, pay bail money and go to court?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you.
It's been done before.
That would have been a hell of a Memphis Wrestling story of Eddie Gilbert going to court and keeping kayfabe and doing 30 days in jail. That would have been great. But it was certainly a hot pop, and I don't watch that I don't jump every time, even if I've seen it 100 times. And whether I don't guess you practice that, but it was perfectly executed. But I've never thought of what could have been on it. But you make great points. Joe
C. says, why wasn't Dundee the booker? And there's a rotating bookers, and just at that particular time he wouldn't take the time, wasn't Dundee's time to do it. And Pat wanted to say something.
Yeah, a couple things. One, I don't know if it was Adam or somebody here that mentioned that, that there's an understanding that Lawler actually did hurt his hip a little bit on that thing. And I forgot what the other thing I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Who was the guy inside in the coat and tie?
Guy Coffey.
No. The heel kid.
That's Sam Lowe. He was a photographer. We talked about him a little earlier. That then Eddie Gilbert changed his name to Sam Baslow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's who that was.
So
Before
he
we go
was
to the video, do
he
you
was a
want
poor man's cornet character.
to do what now?
A poor man's cornet character.
I guess you could say that probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael, did you want to say anything more about that video, or have we put it to bed?
I think we put it to bed, but I just want to reiterate the fact that I think that was one of the best setup angles ever put on Memphis TV that didn't, for whatever reason, didn't matriculate, did not get moved forward to being something very, very big that people talked about for a long time. More people talk about Jerry Lawler busting out the windshields and the headlights of the car with a baseball bat than Jerry Lawler getting hit by a car. I'm sorry, but that's reversed. It's a lot more serious when somebody gets hit by a car rather than a windshield getting broken with a baseball bat.
For whether they had a legitimate reason or not, the reason it didn't click and draw money in that era, and in every era, it's about drawing money. What stopped that from drawing money is they didn't milk it. They didn't drag it along. They didn't build it for a couple of 3 months. They didn't do that. They didn't even milk it to the next break. Lawler, even though he's limping, wasn't dead. It should have been a cliffhanger. Is Lawler dead type of thing. Now, other great stuff from Eddie Gilbert, Jeff Jarrett, Eddie Gilbert Studio Brawl. This is a 5-minute video, and this is pretty cool too.
At some of the action that has already occurred between Jeff Jarrett
I can just
and
say
Eddie
that I know what Jeff Jarrett has got in store for Eddie Gilbert, and I think that after this week you can look for maybe Eddie Gilbert to be dropping on down that list of contenders there.
Let's take a look at this action right here.
Eddie Mullen gives you all the matches you want. That's all it's ever going to be, isn't it?
Come on, guys.
The guy at the announce table took my place in Dallas. That was the global guy. I forget his name.
Wasn't it Craig something?
You may be right.
Craig Johnson?
Right, it was something. He was not a bona fide certified wrestling announcer, I can tell you
Make a
that.
name out of Jerry Lawler, and now you're going to try to do it to me. But I
think he
your
and
problem is
Pedicino were buddies.
You're going through a stinking divorce, and this is your
Don't
second.
talk about my personal. You don't talk about my personal life that way, man. Now you and Beckles, I'm telling to the back your old man about Eddie Mullen. All your matches. That's all you care about. That's the only reason why. That's the only reason why it's in this tournament.
Hey, Eddie Gilbert, you're just a little bit off. You know why? Because Jerry Lawler has stayed around this territory for his whole career and made a name. And that's looking at the new king. No, you're not. Yeah, I'm going to stay around here. Yeah, Lawler's got offers to go all over the world for every federation in the country. He doesn't go. I've got offers and I don't go. You went, you tried, and you found out you couldn't do it.
No, that's not true. I did good.
No,
I did good. I left here and I did good. You can't say about me.
Just get out of here.
Well, I'll leave.
Yeah, you
Come on, Eddie. Eddie Gilbert.
Taking the shoe off, it's old school.
Where's Jerry Jarrett and Eddie Mullen at now? Get your dad out here.
Head cut open, hit him with that shoe. Come on, Eddie. Eddie Gilbert jumping Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff got juice before Eddie ever hit him with the shoe. Did you see that, Randy?
I'd walked away. No, I did not see that.
Right in the fourth. Oh, Jeff nails Eddie Gilbert. There's Eddie Marlin out. Eddie, be careful. There they are battling on the floor. Here comes Sam Lowe.
This is a good brawl.
Yeah.
It is a good brawl.
See if the two of them can get them apart. Oh, Eddie Gilbert has just knocked Sam Lowe, his manager, down to the mat. Let's get some more help out here. If anybody's watching a monitor, here comes Doug Gilbert. Here come Bill Dundee, Danny Davis, Jeff Gaylord, Brickhouse Brown. Well, they've got them separated.
Hello, Eddie. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, the question is, well, Jeff Jeff, not happy with some of the things that Eddie had said. Anyway, these two just said there's no love lost between them. They pointed out they are both second-generation wrestlers. But I can tell you for a fact that Jeff
Danny
Jarrett,
Davis
and I
with the
must say
face
in
paint.
fairness,
Jeff
Eddie
Gaylord doing his best impression
earned whatever they have won in the wrestling
guy
business
from,
by doing it in matches.
New York.
I see Tony Anthony, Dirty White Boy, out here trying to help out too. Again, they've got them apart. Well, that was the situation with Eddie Gilbert and Jeff Jarrett right here.
You're right, Dave Brown. You know that Eddie Gilbert's the new Southern Heavyweight Champion, the new king. How about that?
No, he isn't either.
But just a matter of time. He'll be new king. Here he is right here.
Here he is right here. Hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert.
That's right, Dave. I'm going to make this brief and straight to the point. There's no more to be said, Jeff. Jerry Lawler, you can say out here, you can say all day that I shouldn't be the number 3 contender. Well, you're right. I shouldn't be number 3. I should be number 1. And after this week, when all the pieces to the puzzle are put together, when the new king of wrestling, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, walks out of the ring with the Southern Heavyweight title, then right out here on live television in living color, I am going to be pronounced the new king of professional wrestling, the Southern Heavyweight Champion, and then Lawler, I'm coming after the World Heavyweight title.
It'll have to be done in the ring, not by declaration of Sam Bass Lowe out here. Back in a moment. Stay with us.
I like it when they did the top 10 contenders. You see Jeff Jarrett, Terry Funk, and others.
Attention wrestling fans, there'll be no wrestling.
I always thought they should have kept that as a continuous feature. I think a lot of fans enjoyed that too, Randy.
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. Pat, have you ever seen that brawl in your comments?
I've never seen that brawl. I never have. No.
Did you like it?
I did like it. I mean, you know, what's that, second generation guys going at it? Just good stuff. Good stuff.
I find
what did you think of that deal? I know you said you liked the brawl. The overall deal, what did you think?
I thought it had legs. I thought it could go places. I thought it was sort of funny though watching it back, and I didn't realize it at the time how much shorter Eddie Gilbert was than Jeff. You know, and Jeff is probably my height. He's right at 6 foot, and Eddie's 2 or 3 inches shorter. I never realized that. But I love it. Second generation. I mean, they're going after it. They got a bigger fish to fry after the Southern title. I think it had legs, and I think in a stronger environment, I think it have sold a lot of tickets and made a lot of money throughout the territory.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree with that. And, you know, those guys work so well together.
I was kind of editing as we go, as I have 3 videos that I have scheduled to end the show to get through 90. We're not going to get through this. We have a 9-minute 23 video, and we'll watch that in just a second. But I also have a 30-minute video and a 11-minute video. But I think what we're going to do right now is go to November 18th, 90, part 1. It's 9 minutes and 23 seconds. 9 minutes, 23 seconds. Our last video of the day, as we're editing this show, because again, we have over 40 minutes worth of video to go after this 9 minute, 23 second video is the iconic statue open. It's happening into the more modern look of current production. I love this open, and I always love great crowd shots as Michael St. John is spinning,
recreating the opening,
his deal. I'm not gonna let Michael get over on me. Come to me, Adam. Now, Michael St. John had the Job Guy version of the statue. The owner, founder, and president of Power Pro Wrestling, Randy Hales, has the big boy version. As spinning around, spinning around, spinning around. Now that is the big guy version, Michael St. John.
You got the original, don't you, Randy?
No, I got a bigger one as we go back into this show, but I got your ass.
You did. You topped me, buddy. What happened to the original? Do we know?
Jerry Jarrett, I think.
We'll have a 1 hour time limit on it, but we got some
Jerry had
standby
it.
matches
I
too.
saw it.
Nightmare Danny Davis scheduled to go as time allows in a single match. Joey Meggs will be wrestling here today. Brickhouse Brown goes against Sheik Fabiano. The Sheik, of course, will have Downtown Bruno in his corner. But the USWA Tag Team titles are going to be on the line when we come back here in just a couple of moments. And in that one, it's, of course, going to be the Dirty White Boy and Dirty Doug Gilbert, who will have Sam Basslow and Dirty White Girl, I'm sure, in their corners. They will be defending the USWA Tag Team belts against the Dundees. Bill and Jamie Dundee here to challenge for the USWA Tag Team titles right here on television today. Now, speaking of championship matches,
that's a rarity of Jimmy and of Jamie and his daddy teaming, is it not, Randy?
In USWA championship situations with a brand new world champion now.
30 minutes to 11:37. We'll get to the last two next week. But this gives us a little idea of a fairly long segment, 9 minutes of, as we open the USWA show on November the 18th. And I thought it was interesting, Michael, what were you doing in November of 1990?
I was in a group that was trying to buy several radio stations and consulting 3 in the Mid-South, including 92Q, which was an urban station in Nashville at the time.
Jeff Jarrett, now the number 3 contender, the former Unified.
Oh, there was no reason for you not to be on the TV show.
Contender slot, Jerry Lawler.
I was in Nashville, but I don't know. At that time, I was still doing promos and the inserts for the other markets, but for whatever reason, I wasn't doing the TV on Saturday.
Changed in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't.
Part of that was financial, I think. Part of it was financial.
Michael Cox, I don't do frauds on this show. Eddie Cox is that Michael St. John on the show with y'all. Absolutely. Where you been? You been staying living in a cage all your life? Every Tuesday night for the last 5 years, Michael St. John's been right here. Yes, that's Michael St. John. That flag says underneath this picture, Michael St. John. I'm not going to false advertise on talking Memphis Wrestling. That is the original, that's the only, that is the greatest. That's Michael St. John right there, and I can't believe you don't know that.
The Dundees will be here. Let me tell you, they come into challenge.
Eddie, I don't owe you any money, do I?
Referee Jerry Calhoun is in the ring. He'll be refereeing this one. USWA Tag Team titles on the line, and here they come. The challenges for the belt right here. Jamie Dundee, Superstar Bill Dundee.
I was Cliffy Jones was talking about you today. I hope it wasn't bad, and I don't know who the Cliff E. Jones. So he said, I thought that was him. Michael says hello.
And learn.
Absolutely.
I'm very proud to be out here. I know you could use my help and assistance too, Uncle Dave.
Don't need your help, Bruno. Appreciate it if you wouldn't interfere either in the action or in the commentary. Here's
I never would.
Sam Basslow bringing the belts over here to leave them at the table for safekeeping. Jamie Dundee going against Tony Anthony.
You know, Randy, this guy could work. I always loved working with Dirty White Boy. Tony was a great worker. He still probably is.
Really was.
I'm very frightened. I've never seen anybody training as
I always thought
I've seen that Dirty White girl training.
the Dirty White Boy he had it. He just had it.
Usually out here interfering is what you usually do.
I have never seen her interfere
interfere now. If you would stop interfering with my commentary, I'll tell you what you do.
He and Tom were a great team.
Deep training right now. Where's training that hard in my life?
Dirty White Girl?
Oh, Dirty White Girl. Well, you know, usually she's out here with her man, but she's in some real intensive training right now, if you know.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Dave, you call me a liar?
That's what Bruno says, in intensive training.
Yeah, it's intense training, Dave.
I understand.
Very young and smaller, Jamie Dundee here.
Boy, it is,
a little bit later. Yeah, she may need to be in training, come to think
Boy,
of it.
and so much promise. I mean, once you put him and Wolfie together, that was just magic, Randy.
And working out as hard as I saw that Dirty White Girl working out. So I'm just
In the independents they were put together, and then Jamie brought Jeff a demo tape, and Jeff pitched him to Jerry. Jerry hired him, middle of the card team. So I did not hire them. I'm the one that took them from a mid-card heel tag team to the top baby face in the territory.
But you developed the character, though. You were the character developer without a doubt.
I gave them the opportunity to develop the territory. You can tell by the gimmick that there was no Randy Hills in that at all. It was just me smart enough to say yes and go with it.
Exactly. You know, I train real hard. You know, I run, I press, I curl. You know, I run late.
You know, I think in all seriousness for Jamie and for Wolf, once they went to Philadelphia and New York and got a taste of the big city and what a lot of the talent were into right up there as far as recreation, if you would, unfortunately, I think it got the best of them. I think had they continued to develop and had the territories continued to stay alive, I think we'd be talking about them the same way we talk about the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The Rock and Roll was great in the 80s. And then by the 90s, you need something new. And it was new. The Boys from the Hood and the shorts and the tennis shoes and all that. It was just new. And it got over.
It amazed me, and Pat, you were there last year at the induction for the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, how much the people popped when Jamie and Wolfie came on stage.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't use it, you see. He had the fist doubled up, but Dundee didn't.
I enjoyed being with Wolfie.
Doug Gilbert. However, did you see that fan?
Yeah. Now where is Jamie right now? Randy, do we know?
Yeah, in the Evansville area.
Okay.
It was not an open hand. It was a closed fist. Both of them down. Doug Gilbert in the ring. Bill Dundee out on the floor. And there is Dundee trying to get back on his feet. Look how Tony Anthony, the Dirty White Boy, runs him into the ring post. Down goes Dundee on the floor right there. In the ring, Jamie Dundee. Trying to help out.
Bill's a coward. That's why he doesn't want to get in the ring and help his son, because he's a coward. He'd rather stay out there and be lazy, maybe take a nap on the floor.
They ran him into
Bruno's doing a good job of commentary here.
I always thought Bruno did a good job of commentary. He had that little New York thing about him, that little sass about him, and that totally put him over in my book.
Anthony picks him up by the hair. Hits him with a headbutt. Go, Bill, go, says the crowd. Jamie trying to lead the cheers, trying to get something going for the Dundees.
Dave, why don't you tell these people to shut up? They're not supposed to be hollering. They're a partisan crowd. We don't like partisan crowds. People are supposed to be bipartisan. They're supposed to be neutral, Dave.
You don't like partisan crowds when they're against you. They're against this team right here of the Dirty White Boy and Doug Gilbert, especially with what they have just done to Bill Dundee. Throwing him out of the ring, running him into the ring post. The Dundees trying to get it going. Jamie Dundee leading the cheers for all.
Bill needs to put that thing away before people see it.
And I think the video has just stopped. And it said it had 24 seconds left in it as we will review the show today. But one of the things I wanted to do, because I can't help it, people, I am a promoter and I have something to promote for the people in the Jonesboro, Arkansas area, especially the Jonesboro, Arkansas high school class of 1980, my senior class. Folks, I'm going to open the roof and I'm going to let it rain, and we are going to give them hell Hurricane, up on Hurricane Hill, the greatest class in the history of Jonesboro High School. The last time Jonesboro High School, a powerhouse, won a state football championship was in 1980. This year we gathered together, supposed to 5 years ago, but the damn virus got us and we had to cancel that sucker. Didn't do a 40th live, but we returned to Jonesboro on June the 20th and 21st. A lot of my classmates watched this show, and we're together Saturday and Sunday both, 6:30 to 9 o'clock, and join us Saturday evening for 3 hours, 6 to 9 and 6:30 to 9 on Friday evening. We will meet at Jonesboro High School, and you people that don't live in Jonesboro anymore will not believe Jonesboro High School now. It's like a small college campus. It's beautiful. It is great. You need to go to the Class of 1980 Jonesboro High School Facebook page and click on the registration link. It's only $15, $30 per couple, but $15 per person on Sunday. As you see both those things on Sunday, it's BYOB. See, and it's bring my own water, because in the last couple of months I am strictly a water drinking now. It's the Class of 1980 45th class reunion coming up June 20th and June 21st. Has not a damn thing to do with talking Memphis wrestling, but it has everything to do with me. We'll go with Last Take. We'll let Pat Trammell tell us what the hell he thought about this show today, how fired up he was. He'll make his comments, and plus he'll talk about opening the roof and let it rain and give them hell, Hurricane.
I thought today was great. I have not seen a lot of Eddie Gilbert in Memphis. I've seen some, but I've seen, not so much today. We got to see the angles. We got to see the angle with Lawler. We got to see the angle with Jeff. We got to see Jamie and Bill, and just a lot of stuff. And you can just see kind of the continuous development, new angles, new storylines all around, built around Lawler, building up Eddie. It's a shame he left us. It really is. What a talented guy. Man, I can just imagine if that guy was born in 1960 instead of 1975 or 1950 or whatever, what he could have been in the halcyon days of Memphis wrestling. And I'm excited for your high school reunion. I hope your classmate and my coworker shows up, and finally you do meet and realize you do know who each other is after 45 years.
Melody. Oh, Melody. All right. Tell Melody good old RH will be there. And Thomas says, are there any other well-known Memphis wrestling personalities that's JHS graduates? And as a matter of fact, there is. David Oswald graduated with me, class of 1980, and he started wrestling in 79, doing an enhancement thing. He was a part of the very first Nightmare tag team. He and Danny Davis grew. So David Oswald, and why Pat does, or Michael does his, he's going to, I've opened the roof, and he's going to close the roof for his portion of this show in just a minute. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of me and David Oswald together, a current picture if I can. But here's Michael St. John to talk about this show today, and talking about how I'm fired up as we close this show, and how I always get fired up when I open the roof. Last week I wore my new JHS shirt, and this week I'm wearing my Arkansas State shirt, and I think before this show goes off the air, I'll be wearing the Jonesboro High School thing. But believe me, I won't get topless in front of the camera. I promise you. Michael, respond to this show.
It's okay. Gail's not here.
What?
It's okay. Gail's not here.
I talked to Gail today.
Hey,
Michael?
hey, let me just say, as a tagline to what you're promoting for your reunion, don't miss it. Be there.
What did you think? You have fun today?
I love it. I love it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here next weekend, next Tuesday night,
yeah.
but I'll be back in 2 weeks. But Pat, great show. The Birmingham Stallions had a win over the weekend on the road. They're opening with their big home opener on
Friday night. Yes,
Friday
sir.
night.
We'll try to be there. Yes, sir.
I've got the general manager on the air with me on Thursday morning, and that's going to be a great thing for the city of Birmingham. The Bulls are opening up this weekend as well, so lots of athletic activity. The Alabama A-Day game is Saturday, so a lot of activity going on in the Magic City tonight on Vice TV for Dark Side of the Ring. It's the Van Vader. I believe it's the episode of Van Vader tonight. And tonight on Jimmy Fallon, and I read this earlier today, Triple H is going to be on the Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show, and I'm sure he'll be talking about the big WrestleMania that's coming up. But this is great. I really enjoy this show. One thing, if I can capsulize the 1990 and the start of the 90s, if you would, for Memphis Wrestling, they weren't the same brand that perhaps they were 5 years earlier, but they were trying. And you had a lot of stars that were budding into the, blooming, if you would, into the territory that went on to be major stars and went on to really sort of shape the history of professional wrestling. I mean, you can talk about Danny Davis and all the stars that he trained with Ohio Valley Wrestling that he headed up that ended up in the WWE, and some of them, of course, now in AEW as well. So I think, when you look back at 1990, let's not be jaded over the fact that the mid 80s and the late 80s were very kind to Memphis Championship Wrestling, because I thought the 90s did some chiseling on that stone as well. And I think as we'll get further into the 90s, we'll see how things sort of went haywire. But Randy, I think this is a great way to start it off. And unfortunately, like I said, I will not be here next week, but really appreciate the opportunity and the love for you guys that we get to share every Tuesday night. I miss Coach. Gosh, I didn't know he was sick, but I hope he gets well. And let's not open that roof so big like we did last Saturday with the tornadoes in Jonesboro, because we don't want to blow the roof off that sucker.
The Jonesboro High School got destroyed in 1973, and that's why they had to build the one that I graduated in. Here is David Oswald and I in 2020. Because he looks like Santa Claus there. There's me. And this was when my book was being premiered. And that's me with my Lance Russell shirt. And there is David Oswald. Here is the Nightmares, the original Nightmares. This was in Jackson, Tennessee on September the 21st at Night to Remember, the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. David didn't come with me because he didn't want to stay in Jackson. I went early, and a couple of days earlier, and that's Danny Davis as he became a member of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame, and that's his partner, David Oswald and Danny Davis together, and I think that's a fantastic picture, no doubt about it. Say,
great
comment.
comment.
Said, love my friend Danny Davis, and Eddie Cox says, what nights and time do these podcasts start? I want to start tuning in. Love Memphis Wrestling. Started watching and becoming a fan in the early 70s. It's every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. We've been here 4 or 5 years talking Memphis Wrestling, and our regular group, myself, Pat Trammell, Michael St. John, and Southside School Assistant Superintendent from Jonesboro, Arkansas, and Nettleton High School, Chris Ellis is with us. You can go to the Randy Hales YouTube channel at youtube.com/Randy Hales. YouTube.com/@Randy Hales. It comes up my YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. And also you can click on the live option click on the live option and the archive. You can see some wonderful, wonderful shows up there. So subscribe there. It's also live on Twitter, Twitch, and the Randy Hales Facebook, the Power Pro Wrestling Facebook, and the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame Facebook as well. Pat, you'll be with us next week, right?
Yes, sir. Good Lord willing, the creek don't rise.
And Michael, you'll be riding horses, right?
Well, I'll be betting on them. Today I was telling my wife I had to go out to the barn, and she was out there riding her horse, and I said that horse would be much more prettier if it had a number on it and it was at some racetrack. And I think she took offense to that, but that's okay. I think I lived through it because she made ham and beans tonight, and that's one of her best dishes.
Eddie, and Adam, we're not going to put it up there. I did see your question 2 or 3 different times. I just make it a habit, unless it's in a public thing and not public from an obnoxious person that says something out of true. But that situation you ask about is not true. I mean, certainly when you're 81 years old, you're different than you were when you came into the territory when you were in your 30s. And that's all I'll say to that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Randy. See you in 2 weeks. Love you, Pat. Love you, folks. Thank you all so much for being a part of the best show, but thank you for allowing me to be a part of that show. You guys, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't thank you enough. And Randy, if you like a horse in the races next week, let me know. And Pat, before I go up for the Derby, I'll have to get your horse so I can put a little change on that too for you.
Got it. Adam, thank you for all you do.
Amen. Thanks, folks.
Or producer Adam Dunn for the honorary Randy West. Pat Travel, Michael St. John, I'm Randy Hales. Hey, we got a new guy here. Eddie, I appreciate you joining us today for sure. We'll see you next time, next Tuesday on Talking Memphis Wrestling. What, Pat?
Look forward to seeing the Blues Doctor tonight or tomorrow.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. We go.
You'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hill and